Yeah, great. Awesome. Get into it, Bucko.
We're going to go do a smooth transition over to some baseball. The winter meetings are going on right now. We probably had top 5 free agents sign already. We know DeGrom went to Texas. Trey Turner signed with the Phillies. Aaron Judge signed. Phillies also signed Taijuan Walker. Verlander went to the Mets. Basically the big names that we've expected to sign are signing, and they're getting big deals. First, we'll talk about some Trey Turner action. Probably one of the best free agents available. 29 years old, 11-year deal for $300 million to the Phillies, and the Phillies have just got one of the best hitters in baseball. There's just really not much he can't do. Hits with power, hits for average, drives runners in, great speed, plus defender. Behind Trout, I really can't think of an overall better player than him. Like realistically, obviously Ohtani, he does both sides of the ball. There's not much that Ohtani can't do. So if you're looking at Turner, what that signing means to the Phillies is they got a guy who is going to fit right into that lineup, and something that they were missing at the top of the lineup is somebody to get on base consistently. Schwarber hits home runs but didn't have a high average. Walks a lot, sees a lot of pitches. Hoskins was number 2. He doesn't do anything other than hit a home run and walk. He's not a 2-hole hitter. Realmuto, he's a good hitter. That's about 280, 275. Harper, we know. Castellanos, he had a bad year. He'll figure it out. But Turner's going to slide right in there. He's going to do some damage. He's been in the NL East before with the Nationals, won a championship. He's been there, done that with the Dodgers, been there, done that with the Nationals. Man's experienced. One of the best hitters overall in baseball. He's second in the league last year in hits. He's going to play every day. He played 160 games last year. Now with Turner signing, you're going to slide Stott over to second, take over Segura's spot. And with that, it's like you have 2 guys in the middle of the infield that are just better than what you had last year. Segura made some nice plays, but laterally, he's not the best defender. He's going to make some errors. He's not going to go over there and range for the ball. So Stott has better range. He's a smoother fielder, and Turner's better at shortstop than Stott is. And that's something I'll say confidently. So I'm not hating on Stott, but just at shortstop, his arm isn't as strong. So he could a little bit short overthrow over there at second. He's still a smooth player. He's going to be able to go get the ball up the middle to the right-hand side. And when you have the shift being kind of banned a little bit, that's going to be huge. That's having a guy that's going to be able to go 30 feet, go track down a ball, or pop fly to the right side that a first baseman can't get to, and it's a little bit too far away for the right fielder. It's just going to help out everything. And then if you really look at it, the guy also can steal 40 bases. He's top 3 in the league speed-wise. And with the pitchers this year being limited on how many times they could throw over, this is going to be big for him. He's going to be able to time up when he's stealing, especially against the Mets, because the Mets also don't have a good catcher that throws to second. James McCann's terrible. I'm not a fan of his at all. He can't hit.
Nito.
Nah, Nito, you're paying McCann 75. He's playing, and Nito, I ain't worried about him. So realistically, Turner, if he gets on base, he's going to get over to scoring position quite often this year. I'm going to take him, looking at him by 35, 40 stolen bases this year. It is a lot, definitely a lot, maybe closer to 35, 30, but he's going to be running. Phillies like to run, and that's for certain. And he, like I was saying before, he's going to be a leadoff number 2 guy. He's going to go right at the top of the order. Say JT's at third or Harper's at third. He has protection behind him too. So who do you want to pitch to? You're going to go pitch to Schwarber, throw him strikes. We know what he could do to strikes. Go throw to Turner. He'll get on base, steal second, and boom, runner in scoring position. JT, the man can pull the ball. He can go opposite way. And then Harper is going to do everything. Harper might have he's actually not playing next year. So if he were to play a full season next year, he would be probably close to 110 RBIs. Let's be real. He might even close to 120. He'll play about maybe hitting. He might do like half a season. All-Star break will be back. So they also signed Taijuan Walker. But before we get to Walker, what do you think about Turner?
Turner, great signing. Love the Turner signing. Dude's a demon on the base pads. Like he's gonna cause havoc all throughout the year. He's gonna be great for them. Taiwan Walker, on the other hand, not a fan of. A little too much money in my opinion for what I at least I expect him to do. I think 4 years, 72 million, right?
Yeah, 4 for 72.
I think I think he's just like I think he's a beginning of the year pitcher. Like he's like a first half pitcher. Bats are cold. That's when he's doing his best. But I feel like when it matters, like he has a tendency to get shelled. Like last year, whenever he first off, he can't like throw like the Pirates last year. The Pirates shelled him every game they saw him. The Pirates were all first pick of the draft. They're terrible. Pirates shelled him every game last year. I just don't know his how he's going to be able to translate into this. Like you were saying earlier though, he is only 30.
Yeah.
So, I mean, he does have room to improve, but I don't know. I'm not the biggest fan of the signing, especially for what they're paying him, but we'll see.
Well, I mean, the pitcher market, it's like how in the NBA, if you look at the NBA now, Evan Fournier didn't deserve his money. RJ Barrett didn't deserve his, but you're going to give it to him because based off of what everybody else is doing in order to save and get the guy. Walker, you're going to start seeing these like pitchers that are just about average, 3 or 4, maybe a 2, get paid more just because the top guys are getting paid very handsomely. Verlander signed for 40 mil a year. DeGrom, same thing. Scherzer, same thing. So these guys, yeah, obviously they're worth the money, but it's just gonna trickle down to everybody else. The number 2 is gonna get 30 something. A number 3 is gonna get 20 something, which that's what you're seeing here with Walker. And it's not like he had a bad year last year, contract year. He showed out, so he's gonna get paid because he played well. 3-4-9 or 3-4-5, whatever it was, 147 innings. Like he pitched well. Yeah, it was mainly in the first half, but still overall the stats are there. That's what he did. His fastball, that realistically, it's up to that fastball to set up everything else. He throws it 30% of the time, and it's flat. If he can get it from stop being up and into righties, but he realistically everything's up with the fastball. He needs to learn how to throw it a little bit more down. It'll help every other pitch just set it up even better. If he's throwing a fastball down, it's going to be harder to tell what's coming in. If you're going to see a fastball down or if you're going to get a sinker, that's just going to leave the zone, or that splitter or a split thing, whatever he's throwing. The slider, too. He doesn't really throw too much into the zone with those pitches. So whenever you see something in the zone, it's like, oh, this must be the fastball. So if he realistically gets that fastball low, it'll set a lot more things up. I'm like you said, he's 30. He's got room for improvement. Like he had a good year last year. He can still improve from that. As a number 3 or 4 guy, there's not immense amount of pressure on him. He has Nola, who was a second team All MLB player this year. Wheeler, we know he could be a Cy Young winner as long as he's like staying healthy and pitching a lot of innings. He's a stud. He's a workhorse. Strike a lot of people out. Stays really consistent in the zone. And even if you got Ranger Suarez too, there's going to be a little competition between the pitchers. It's like, I want to be the 3rd guy. I want to be the 4th. And if you look at the playoff rotation last year, you need 4 pitchers. Last year, the Phillies had Wheeler, Nola, Suarez, and who? They had Bailey Falter or Kyle Gibson. Or Syndergaard. They had to do a bullpen game. So this really solidifies that playoff pitching staff. You needed somebody to come in there who's going to eat innings and who's going to be a guy who can actually throw out there for 4 or 5 innings and then bring the bullpen in. Because you don't have a 4th game being a bullpen game in the playoffs. It's never good. Never good for that.
That's true. For depth purposes, like I would consider it a better signing than the way you put it. Yeah, I just like performance wise, there's just something about him that irks me. I feel like he's not too great as he's been made out to be the past couple years. But I do think once playoffs roll around, if you make the playoffs,
Oh yeah,
we'll because Harper not being there, we'll see. But like still though, Trey Turner filling in there, like your lineup still looks playoff worthy. You should make the
yeah,
playoffs.
yeah. And Castellanos. So you look at that how his season went last year. Like he didn't have a good year at all, and it was like a extremely down season. It can only get better for him. It's not this guy isn't one of those players who has a bad year and it's like, oh, he's done. His career's over. This guy has hit 300 with the Reds. I think he almost did it every year. He's a natural 300 hitter. He just had a little bit a couple quirks in that swing last year where it wasn't working. He had it this off season. He's gonna have the time to look at the footage, look what he did with the Red, look what he did with the Phillies, and sit down and be like, I got to fix this and get to this point and get back. Because realistically, he's at his best when he's hitting the ball the other way. He's an inside out hitter. He can take an inside pitch and hit it the other way and drive it for power. And at Citizens Bank Park, that right field, it's not like it's incredibly short like Yankee Stadium is or how San Fran is, but it's a hitter friendly ballpark. If he can get the ball and drive it the other way, then everything's gonna click. He can pull the ball to the left field, but it really started him going the other way, hitting doubles the other way. He's a gap to gap guy. As long as he's doing that, this team will be perfectly fine. We need somebody before Harper gets back. We need somebody to step up, and realistically, Castellanos might be that guy. He really might be the guy to step in there and really get some RBIs early in the season. And when Harper gets back, it's going to be a real tough lineup.
I can
But
see it.
we'll move on from Turner and the Phillies. We're going to go move over to your team, the Yanks, to go see Aaron Judge. Big news this morning: 9 years, $360 million. Turned down 400 from the Padres to sign with the Yanks. Give me your thoughts.
I love it. I'm stoked. I mean, obviously, I was telling a buddy earlier, I would rather take him for 9 years and God forbid, but watch him decline or get worse as the years go on, than let him go to another team and potentially watch him continue to rake and dominate. Like that would just hurt so much more. And I wouldn't have been upset if he had left either, because you're 30 years old. You've been with the Yankees your whole career. You've been in the organization your whole career. I used to watch him play when he was with the Trenton Thunder. That was
Yeah.
electric. Now
Mm-hmm.
it's like now it's like if he wanted to go, let him go. You want to go home. You deserve the money. You had a great season. Go for it. But the fact that he came back, I'm stoked. But like the off season doesn't end here though. Like the Yankees still have way more work to do. Obviously, he was like the top suitor. Like you had to get him, but there's way more work to do for this team. You can't, for instance, there's a few things I want to touch on. Realistically, they're not going to be able to re-sign Benintendi. I like Benintendi, but I think he's going to be too high asking price. Another player I would like to look into is Michael Brantley. I know he's old. He's like 36, and he just came off shoulder surgery, so that's like a risky play. But
Yeah.
dude's like a 300 career hitter, just about 5-time All Star. He's got a little power too, so I think he could fit in nicely. I wouldn't mind taking the risk on him. Um, the other part that I'm a little shaky on, I don't know what I would do if I were Cashman in this scenario. I think if you could trade Donaldson, you should. I just don't think many teams are going to want him. I want to see LeMahieu start at third, because if Rizzo's at first, I want to see LeMahieu in the lineup just about every day. Yes, Donaldson has a filthy glove, but I like LeMahieu just hits the ball. Like Donaldson at one point for I think the first like 60 games of the year, dude was just dog water. He was batting
Yeah.
like struggling to get to 200. So like he's just way too inconsistent. He's always swinging under
Well,
the
who's
ball.
your
He's
first
just a pop
baseman, by the
fly
way?
guy, huh?
Who's your first baseman?
Rizzo,
Oh, Rizzo. That's right. I forgot you guys re-signed him. That's right. Never mind.
Rizzo. So then, like, I would like to see LeMahieu go in at third solely for he's got a fine glove too. I
Yeah.
just want to see him get more at bats. Like Donaldson having a friggin' web gem is like great. Like he's gonna he's gonna do that. It's what he does. But like he's just way too inconsistent at the plate, and I'm like tired of it. I'm tired of it. Dude
Well,
had
what,
one
what would you
highlight
what
from the
would you think of this then? So who right now Hicks is still your left fielder because Bader will play center, Judge is in right?
yeah.
So
Hicks is
Stanton's
also
the
on.
DH. But how about what if you move Stanton to the outfield? You have Donaldson at third and DJ's the DH. Put it that way. Hicks isn't that great of a defender anymore. I mean, your team, you have Bader in center who can cover the ground. He's a good center fielder.
Oh
Judge in
yeah.
right. So like realistically, I think if you want to have Stanton in left, DJ will be the DH. Or if you want to teach DJ how to play left, I think that's the way to go around it. Hicks isn't the guy; he can't hit. DJ and Stanton are both better hitters, so that's one way to go around. Instead of you could still have a plus defender at third who's going to protect him in left field, whoever it is, if it's DJ or Stanton. So that
I don't
that could
mind that. I don't
that's
mind
definitely
that.
something that
Just
could
like
happen.
Hicks is just like one. Like I feel like they're gonna try to get Hicks involved because they owe him so much money. Like he's
Yeah.
dead weight for what he does. Like I think they got to pay him another 11 million for next year, which is just so frustrating because the dude has just he was just touted to be so much more than he was, and he's just flopping.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
I mean, I see him like ending up finding his way in the lineup far too many times that I would like to see. But I think that's a pretty solid alternative. I wouldn't mind seeing that just because I do love watching Donaldson play the field, but like I
Yeah.
just hate whenever he gets up to that.
Well,
So I
yeah,
mean,
no, understandable.
having somebody hit for him would be nice. I think another alternative, like I don't want this to happen because I do really like Gleyber Torres. I just think they could get a good deal out of him. I think they could get something good out of him, and then like so they re-signed Connor Falefa, so he'll be at short. I just think they could get a good deal out of him because those two young guys who they brought up last year, Oswald
Cabrera.
is it Oswaldo Cabrera
As well, though, yeah.
Oswald Peraza.
Yeah.
I like I like both of them, but like I don't know. I think they can get. I think one of them can start to play now. They had some good experience last year. Like they had at bats in the playoffs, so I think
They did.
that'll suit them well.
And Cabrera had some nice plays
I
in the
just
field,
need to.
too.
He did, and he played short, second, right, left. He was all over the
Yep,
place. Like he was a plug and play
absolutely.
guy. So
Um,
that's a big factor for them.
what I like about him is, like you said right there, being a young player on the Yankees team, like what they're doing with DJ, you're gonna play everywhere, and if you get the chance to play, make an impression. Simple. Just make an impression wherever it is. If it's hitting, go hit some baseballs. But if it's in the field and you make a play, that's how you stay on the roster. I appreciate what he did for the Yankees last year. Not even as a Yankee fan, the man just absolutely went in there and said, "I'm gonna make an effect on this game."
I think the Yankees are also like if you step back, obviously it sounds biased because I'm a Yankees fan, but I feel like the Yankees are becoming more likable in the sense of like the players on their teams. So I feel like that like in a way it's becoming more of like it could be becoming more of an attractive landing spot because it's not like yeah, like Donaldson still holds that like arrogance, I guess. He's like one of the only guys I think that just has like that arrogant like
Yeah, with a former
man that like
MVP.
yeah, that's fair, but like he's not even close to that level anymore. So
No,
Buddy's got to simmer the fuck down. But like Rizzo, how do you hate Anthony Rizzo? The
nobody
guy's
does.
always smiling. The guy's always smiling. And then these two young guys, Cabrera and Peraza, great kids. Harrison Bader, dude is great. I think he's from Bronxville.
Yeah, he's from somewhere in New York.
He's literally like he's like 25 minutes north of Bronx Stadium, I think.
Yeah,
So that's like I just like the vibe that they kind of have over there. LeMayu, super humble kid. I just I like where it's going. I just need to see more moves.
yeah. I mean, the move I'm looking at for the Yankees, they got to get a pitcher. And they lost Tyone. Not a bad idea to lose him, but you
I
got to
hate.
add an arm. You got to add somebody, whether it's somebody in the system you looking at it like, oh, we developed him, he's good enough, or if you're gonna go out and sign somebody. The market's kind of dwindling. If you guys want to go out there and go get Rodon, he's available, but you're gonna have to give him money. You're gonna have to pay him pretty well. Or if he goes out here and says, I want a 2 year, $80 million deal, or a 2 year 75, where it's gonna be another like a Verlander Scherzer deal where you're gonna give him a lot annual salary, but he's not getting a long term deal that he's looking for. I think Rodon's looking for a long term deal with still good money, but after the Judge 360, and now you have Cole and Stanton getting 200. That's a little bit much on the Yankees payroll. I mean, they're the Yankees, but we've seen them in recent years. They're not like the same old Yankees. They're not trying to pay. Cashman's been a little cheap.
Yeah, but great thing he's re-signed for another 4 years, right?
Yeah,
They're
right.
gonna have they're gonna have his head on a friggin' poster in the city like by the end of the season.
I mean, shoot,
Maybe by the end of the
he could still get fired. Come trade deadline, if the Yankees are, they're still playing well, they're still going to be obviously contending for a wild card division, whatever it is. But if he goes out there and doesn't do anything, shoot, at the deadline, like I mean, he got hitters this year, but they got the hitters on the team. Torres, he should stay, in my opinion. Donaldson, he could figure it out offensively. Rizzo, he's great in that stadium. Stanton, he needs to figure some things out a little bit. He can still drive the ball for power. Judge, we know he could do. Bader had a great playoff. Trevino, he had a great year too. So it's like the hitters are there. you need help in the pitching staff. You need to find a closer. You lost Kenley Jansen. He went to the Red Sox. He went to the rival. Who's going to be the closer? Is it going to be Holmes or is it going to be Chapman? I don't know.
I'm not necessarily. I think Holmes is a fine closer. I think he's solid. I'm not necessarily too worried about the closer. I think he's got that lockdown. Chapman,
Yeah,
if Chapman wants, he can walk. I don't know a single Yankees fan that would mind if Chapman was there or not. To be honest with you, but from the starting pitching staff, yeah, they definitely need improvements. I'm fine with Tyone leaving. I was never a fan of his. I think he's got the most punchable fucking face for some reason. Every time I see him, every time he steps on the mound, like I just want to knock him the fuck out. He's got like
I
that
mean, fair.
that fucking overbite, and it drives me nuts. I see him, and I just, but I'm glad he's gone. So they need to fill the spots there. I mean, you've got Severino, Cole, and then hopefully everybody else can kind of start finding their role and picking it up. Because I'm not a big fan of Clark Schmidt. One, because he friggin' smoked it for the Yankees in the
Yep.
ALDS. So I'm not a fan of that. But yeah, they definitely got to get a good signing or two. I'd be fine with just one guy for now, and then maybe you go after somebody at the deadline. But we'll see.
Yeah. Yeah. You don't need to go out there and sign two guys now. You can figure it out. Get somebody from the system coming up. Um, but I mean, you just need one more. You need one more arm right now for certain. Because Severino, he's solid. He showed he can be great. He's still a little young. He needs to figure some things out, but he's the player to look for this year in the Yankees. You don't necessarily need to get Rodon because if you get Rodon, you're getting a certified number two, almost ace, and that means Severino to be a three, and that'll be perfect. But you're gonna have to spend the money. So if Severino could step up and be that number two guy and be a lot like a lock for a number two, that would be huge for them. But
Yeah,
the the pitching market, I mean, DeGrom, what do you think? I mean, he got a big deal going to Texas. He got a similar deal from the Mets to stay, but if you include the taxes and all, he's going to get a big amount of money over there in Texas. You know, we've
yeah,
seen players, I mean, in the NFL, Tyreek Hill has said he didn't come to the Jets because he understands the state taxes. He's going to make more money in Florida. So DeGrom to Texas, that makes sense.
sure, sure. I think yeah, like he's gonna get paid obviously regardless. I just think that deal was a little too much for me. He's not gonna play a full season. Like I feel like people aren't really like digesting that. Like yes, when he's healthy, I think he's the best pitcher in the MLB, but he's not gonna play a full season. It's just not gonna benefit them. I mean,
I don't know. So
for the money he's what was the deal? Five was it
it
like five
was
85?
5 for 1 something.
185, I think, or
Let me
180.
see. I forget what the
That's
exact amount is, but let me look it up. DeGrom
I just don't.
signed. Well, he's 34 first. That's so he's going to be pitching. The deal's going until he's 38 at least. So that's one, yeah, 5 for 185.
He's just not going to finish the season. He's not going to finish one season throughout that entire contract. I'm so confident in that.
See, yeah, he hasn't been the most healthy player in his career so far, but there's ways around making sure that he pitches consistently all year. Like in April and May and a little bit of June, pitchers don't really throw more than 6 innings. That's the max. Their arms are still warming up, and they have to save them for the season because it's a long year. If you look at DeGrom and you're throwing him 4 innings in April and May, and you're strict with his innings, he'll be all right. You just have to be strict. You have to understand if you want to win in the months of August and September, the crunch month, you got to limit him early. Make him throw four innings, and you need to make sure that he's throwing 4 innings. Be strict. It doesn't matter if he's throwing a perfect game. Take him out. A perfect game is great and all, but it's for the team and it's for the better for him. You got to keep him healthy. We know like he's got a workload. He's throwing 102, 101 consistently. That's not good on the arm, and that is not like never been good. And we've seen that Wheeler the same thing. He's throwing 100 consistently. He had to take a step back a little bit. He's throwing about 99, 100 still, but it's not every single fastball he's throwing. He's changing the speeds up. He's mixing that two seam. And the two seam's important because you don't have to throw it as hard, and it's moving. So it's still just as effective as the fastball because it's coming into the righties. It's moving away from the lefties, or it's coming into the lefties and just hitting the zone. So there's things you can do around it to make sure he's still healthy. But I don't know. That deal, I think that is he deserves it to me. I think he deserves that. The Mets, I think, messed up. They should have signed him for a 2-year deal like they did Verlander. I'm sure DeGrom wasn't looking at that. He didn't want that. But you got to give some respect to the guy homegrown. He's done great things for that franchise. And the Mets, I feel like they've been disrespecting DeGrom. They've never wanted to re-sign him to a long-term deal. They've always been afraid of his injuries. But yet again, he's always been the best pitcher in baseball. He's been there for them in the World Series for that run. They never named him the ace. It was always Harvey. Syndergaard's better. Scherzer's better last year. They've just disrespected him, and it was time for him to move on. Get him out of the NL East as a Phillies fan. But I've always thought I think he's one of the best pitchers ever in the game because nobody's able to do what he's been doing and how filthy that slider at 96, 95 to mix in a 102 fastball. It just doesn't make sense. It's not fair. Simply not fair. But I mean, if you think, and I was mentioning Verlander, I'm on the way of I don't think that was a good deal. The man's gonna be 40 years old next year, and you gave him 40 something million. Yeah, he's still good. He's at 39 last year, had a good year, but you're bringing him into the NL East where the last couple
Well,
years
on the
in the
Cy
World
Young,
Series.
that's better than there.
Well, yeah, no, absolutely. But if you look at the World Series when the Astros lost, I mean, they beat the Phillies this year, obviously, but he had a 5.4 ERA versus us. And if you look at when they played the Braves the year before, he didn't even get a win. You're bringing him in against these two teams that are still relevant in the division. The Nationals, they suck. He'll be high against them. But the Braves hit him. They scored runs against him. You're going to bring him in there against two teams that hit him well. I mean, DeGrom was dominant against the Phillies, dominant against the Braves. Did they improve at all from this signing? I don't think so. They stayed the exact same. Look, they won 100 games. There's no problem with that. Staying the exact same. But at the same time, I don't know, man. You want to improve at
Win
some
now.
part of the roster. It's win now, but you didn't even win last year when you had 101 wins. Like,
No, I
what do
know. I'm
you?
saying they're in win now mode, but like I'm saying, I'm agreeing with you. I don't think Verlander puts them over the hump to
No,
win a World Series. If anything, I like losing DeGrom. Like I just worry about his injuries, but like when he's on the field, you can limit him. He's the best pitcher in the league. So like losing
yeah,
him is like undoubtedly a loss. Like swapping him for Verlander, like yeah, Verlander had a great year last year, won the Cy Young. But like you're saying, you're about to be 40. You lost the deal there. Like you're losing DeGrom and you're getting somebody who very well could next year fall off. Like you never
yeah,
know. Like when somebody
yep.
gets to that age, like it could just take 1 year to fall off.
Take one injury. Think about it. Imagine if Verlander next year gets hurt and he needs Tommy John, dude.
Done,
That's
yeah.
brutal. He's probably done. Like that's a full year recovery. If he gets hurt in July, August, and he's Tommy John, he might as well retire. And the Mets have just eaten that contract, and that's not good for them. They realistically, the problem with them is the offense has been great, and then come September, the saying the Mets will Met, it just always happens. It happens every year. The Mets are gonna Met, they Met, and the offense just falls asleep. They become dead. It's up to them. It's up to that offense to keep being consistent throughout the whole year. You got to continuously play better. They got into the playoffs last year, but they shit the bed against the Padres in the first round. You just got to be better offensively. Simple, plain and simple. It's your pitching staffs have been great, and they've been there.
I agree. I agree. Well, we'll be looking to see what else happens here with these offseason signings. I'm honestly like stoked to see because there's a lot more to happen. Like there's a lot more fun to be had. So
Yeah, yeah.
I'm excited to see what teams do, what triggers they pull. But for now, let's hop into the Pit Boss plays of the week. Up at 5-1 now. You know how I do, Tommy. I'm
Five and
looking to
one,
keep
buddy.
this streak going.
I don't know about five and
What?
one. Last week was the first week of December, buddy.
Oh, okay, my fault. So I guess we just did the first week for absolutely no reason, then, right?
Yeah.
Right. All right,
Yeah,
so I'm
yeah,
5-1 in
yeah.
my head, but I'm 2-1 on the record books. Still better
Uh
than
huh.
your bum ass.
Right.
But make sure you keep dropping comments. We've only gotten one or two so far, but keep dropping some comments. Give us some suggestions for punishments at the end of the month. So that way we'll have to see what Tommy has to do. But my I'll start off with my first play. I'm gonna be going after a little Thursday night football action. I'm gonna take Tyler Higbee over 33 and a half receiving yards on the Rams. Rams playing I'm
Raiders.
blanking. The Raiders.
Yeah.
Rams playing the Raiders Thursday. I'm going to take Higbee over 33 and a half receiving yards. I expect at some point in the game, Baker Mayfield to get in at some
Tough.
point. And yeah, I just think at some point he'll find his way into the game. Like if they're down, like I just fuck it, throw him in.
Yeah.
So yeah, he'll probably be wearing the wristband, have the plays on there. He'll be reading them off like a child. But I can see like him probably not taking too many shots down the field. So I expect him to link up with, the trusty tight end over the middle of the field, sidelines, little out routes. I
Yeah.
expect him to get together 3.5 yards. I'm not sure what his receptions line is, but I would take it. I would take over 3.5. Anything more, probably not. But I think he gets over 33.5 receiving yards. I like that one.
Yeah, that's a safe bet there. So my first Pitballs play of the week. I'm gonna go out here and I'm gonna start off with the old World Cup on Saturday. It's quarterfinal time. This is kind of where the World Cup's leaning to ending now. I'm gonna go out. I'm looking at the Brazil and Croatia game. I'm looking at Brazil, and it's tough to say -2. I really don't want to say -2. I'm gonna just say it anyway. I'd take Brazil -2. Croatia, they've only scored more than one goal one time against Canada. They won 4-1. I mean, Brazil is a much better team. Yeah, Spain lost the other day, but they're still young. They still got Neymar. They still know how to score goals. They put up like 3+ goals a couple times this World Cup. I'm looking at them, and I think this is I think they advanced on a 3-1, 2-0, maybe 3-0 game. It's not going to be a cakewalk. It's still going to be a tough game for them. And Croatia, it's not like they're a bad team, but when they played Switzerland, another team made it to the round of 16. Yeah, I think it was 16. They won 1-0. It's not like it's 3-0 against a good team, but they know how to score. They won 4-1 in the first one. I'm looking at a 2-0, probably realistically a 2-0 win, but for Brazil.
Yeah, well, they're the best team in the world. So whatever it
France is
is,
probably better.
I don't think so.
I think
I
France is
think
better.
they're dominant. We'll see though.
Yeah,
We'll see.
France has
I
a
mean,
tougher matchup.
they're probably gonna end up playing each other at some point.
Yeah.
So
So what
we'll
do you got
see.
next?
Probably in the final. Um. So for my next play, little NBA game for Thursday night, whatever the Heat spread is against the Clippers Thursday, it hasn't come out yet because obviously games are still going on tonight. But Clippers coming off a back to back. They play tonight against the Magic, I believe. They'll be coming off a back to back. I wouldn't be surprised if Paul George or Kawhi rested another one because they both got injured recently. Well, Paul George got re-injured recently, so like I wouldn't be surprised if one of them gets a little rest day tomorrow night coming off a back to back.
Yeah.
And if they do play, I still like the Heat and Spoelstra to outplay the Clippers at home in Miami. They've had a little day's rest. Jimmy Butler's back. I expect them to start getting back in their mojo. So I'm going to take a guess here at what the spread would be and like my ranges for it. I would take the spread anywhere from like -2.5 to -5.5. Anything higher, I'd probably stay a little bit away from. I'm just giving myself a little cushion for fouls at the end of the game, something like that. But I like the Heat tomorrow night.
That's a fair, yeah, definitely. I think maybe Kawhi will probably be the one taking a day off, realistically.
I agree.
So my second play, I'm looking at this Vikings Lions game, and right now the Lions are favored 2.5, but I'm not even touching that. It's a trap. Well, one way or another, it's either I don't know what's going on with the Lions, why they're favored against the Vikings. Yeah, the Lions are at home, but still. Either way, I'm on St. Brown 6+ receptions this week, and the way the Vikings play defense, they're gonna give you yards. They want you to, as long as you get the yards, you can have 500 yards a game. But if you score one touchdown in that, that's how you win. Look what happened with the Jets. The Jets were in the red zone, I think 6 times. They went 1 for 6 in the red zone, and barely 1 for 6. They barely got that one touchdown. So they're good inside the red zone. They're going to go up and down the field. Both teams are. It's going to be a high scoring game. So I'm looking at Amon St. Brown, who's been hot. He's been real good for the Lions. Him and Jared Goff have a great connection. whether it's on a middle of the field 10, 15 yard throw or a deep ball, even short. He catch a lot of screen passes, a lot of in and out routes. Go give him the ball and let him make a play. So I'm looking at him 6 receptions, and realistically, he's getting 12 targets a game. In the last game they had against the Lions, or excuse me, against the Vikings, I think he had 70 something yards for, it was 7 or 6 receptions, or 7 targets, 6 receptions. So I think 6 receptions is a safe bet. The line hasn't come out yet, so I can't really tell you what the favorite is right now, but I'm taking him 6 receptions.
I like that play. I have him on my fantasy team, so I'll be rooting for you on that one.
Yeah.
Just that one though. So my last play going to be a little hot take. College basketball tonight. Florida, UConn. Florida's at home. I think I'm going to take Florida. I think Florida hands UConn their first loss of the season. Game's at 9. I think Colin Castleton is going to cause serious problems for UConn's big man, Adama Sanogo. Castleton's putting up about like 6.5, 7 boards, and Sanogo's also leading UConn with 19 and 7. So I think this is going to be a fun game. It's either going to be a lot of scoring or a ton of defense. I can either see this game being in the 60s or it's going to be in the high 70s, touching 80s. So we'll see how it goes. Kyle Lofton is Florida's point guard. He's a grad transfer from St. Bonaventure, so he's also from Hillside, New Jersey. So I'm always rooting for him.
Yeah.
I expect his maturity to really shine through in this game, and they should pull this one out on their home floor. To be honest, they're plus 4.5, but I would take the risk on taking them money line at plus 175. I'm gonna make my play plus 175 money line, but I suggest taking them plus 4.5 if you get scared. So let's
Mm.
if anybody gets scared of it, let's roll with the plus 4.5. But I'm going money line. Let's take a money line dog on the home floor.
Uh, well, my last play, we're gonna do some UFC. I'm all over the place with sports today. We got a UFC play this week. UFC is going on. I think it's in Vegas. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's in Vegas. So, but guess what, you scouser? You know who I'm rocking with this week? A man, no scouser lad, and the only non-scouser on the UFC roster is Paddy the Body. I don't understand what you're thinking. Patty's gonna win this fight. It's gonna be easy. Yeah, I mean not necessarily easy, but I'm rocking Patty. I'm not gonna pick knockout or nothing because every time I do that, it doesn't happen. But Patty to win, guaranteed. The hype train's there. Gotta love Patty. If he wins this fight, it's not like Jared Gooden's that much better than him. So it's not like he's gonna go skyrocket up the rankings, but he's gonna finally, if he wins this one, he's gonna fight somebody much better than him, and he's gonna be tested next. So I'm looking at him. He's going to take this one seriously because he knows what could be next. He needs to win this fight. Yeah, I'm rocking Patty to Batty.
Yeah, that's I'm liking all your picks. This will be one of few weeks where I might just end up rooting for your picks too.
Yeah,
Patty the
right.
Batty,
Let's be real.
fun pick. How do you go against Patty Pimblett? That's the guy. But yeah, I'm loving it. Monroe St. Brown fantasy team need him to go
Yeah.
off this. Let's get after it. But yeah, so that's all we got for the slate today. Hopefully you guys like what we got. Tune in next week. We'll be dropping more stuff. Appreciate Asher again coming on. It's a good
Hmm.
time. Appreciate it.